Hi. I want to start this journey, and I believe in my heart that it's very important to let everybody know my story. But I have to start at the beginning, which as far as back as I can remember was 1985. It's where I encountered evil for the first time, and then I developed this special relationship with the higher power, God, and so I encountered evil first. So one day I was riding my horse up the hill to go see my cousin, Jessica. And I was riding her bareback, and I was laying on her back, and it was towards sunset. So it was, pink, orange out, and it was beautiful. And so I was, riding up the hill, and my horse stops and starts pawing at the ground and shaking and going like that. And then I sit up, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Come on, let's go. And she takes a couple more steps and then stops and starts doing it again, shaking and making noises and stuff. And then so I look up, and my dad has this well drilling business called Maranatha Well Drilling. And he had the drill rig, he had the tower up all the way. And this evil entity was perched on top of it, and it looked like a gargoyle. It had wings, it had horns. The wings looked like a bat, and it had horns and these piercing reddish orange eyes that were just like, I could feel it. It was just like looking straight through my soul, and it felt very evil, like it wanted me, and it took everything in me. And finally, because I was like, oh my God, am I seeing what I'm seeing? And this thing was just like perched there and staring at me, and perched and like this, and it was just staring at me like it wanted me and stuff. And I was like, oh God, in Jesus' name, please be gone. And I see this thing fly off into the sunset and disappear. I don't know. It went into some other kind of realm. I don't know, but it was gone. It just like disappeared, like poof, gone. And so I was so scared, and I ran, I told my horse, come on, let's go, let's go tell my Aunt Linda. So I go and tell my Aunt Linda, and I tell her, what I saw, and she's like, well, that never happened. You're just making that up. Just go play or something. And I was like, no, that's what I saw. My horse got spooked. And she didn't believe me, so I just went on, and played with my cousins. I helped her finish her chores, because she was the one stuck with all the chores, because she was the middle child too. And so that very night, I began that personal relationship with the higher power, God. And I was, I started praying. I prayed to him, and I said, thank you. Thank you so much for looking after me, and thank you for giving me the power to ward this evil entity off. And that night I also told him, or asked him, please send me someone that will take care of me, love me for who I am, and protect me, and have unconditional love for me. And I also asked him, am I going to have children? Because people would ask you, when you're young, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I always told him I want to be a mother. I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to be a mother. So I asked him, you know, am I going to have children? And I thanked him again, you know, and then I went to bed. And that very night, he came to me in a dream, and he told me, yes, I will send you someone that will love you for who you are, your soulmate. And yes, you will have children. You will have 3 children. You will have a boy, a girl, and a boy. And so all throughout my life, I told everybody, you know, oh, well, I'm going to have 3 children. God came to me in a dream and told me I will have 3 children. And so that was the first, like, real connection I had with him. And that's where it starts, is to have that foundation, to have faith, to go on faith, to, you know, have this power, because everybody has power within them. We're all like 100% energy, you know, and we're very powerful beings. I mean, the higher power made us very special individuals, you know. So I had that foundation, and I went on faith. And that was, you know, the beginning. And, you know, throughout my childhood, it just got stronger and stronger. I mean, for instance, a couple months after I encountered evil, I grew up on 38 acres with all kinds of animals. I mean, you name it. I had fish, cats, dogs, hamsters, rats, chickens, sheep, dogs, horses, cows. We had all of it. And so a couple months after I, you know, saw this evil entity, we started having, like, our animals mutilated, like torn to shreds. And some of them were with their heads missing, nowhere to be found. And there's one night, or one morning actually, I woke up because I'd helped my mom feed the animals. And we had a bunch of sheep. And probably like 3 or 4 of them were mutilated, like torn to shreds. A couple of them had their heads missing. And I saw these huge footprints, and I live out in the middle of nowhere in a desert. So I'm like, this is no bear. This is no mountain lion. I didn't know what kind of animal it was. And so it looked like this huge dog print with long claws on it. So I'm following these footprints all over my property. And finally, I came to a stop. They, like, disappeared. There were no other tracks. And I'm, like, thinking to myself, like, this is bad. This is really bad. Something horrible happened. Something evil happened. And it happened to other animals. I mean, we'd have chickens. Same thing. We raised Rottweilers, and we had this Rottweiler named Tuwaka. She was an awesome dog. She was such a good mother. She took care of her puppies, and she was so gentle, and she was just a very well-behaved Rottweiler. And she had a litter of puppies, and I think she had about 9 or 8. And we couldn't find her because I knew she had her puppies. And finally, I found her underneath my house. And she she was way underneath the house, and she was, I mean, when I called to her, she was yelping like, and she was, you know, and I finally coached her out, and you know, and then I found like 4 puppies with their heads missing. And I'm just like thinking to myself, like, what is going on here? This is not right. And she was shaking, and she was just like really, really scared. And so that was very traumatizing as a child, because I'm helping, you know, my mom raise these animals, and I find our animals mutilated and beheaded. And it was just very weird and evil. That was just, you know, the beginning of something. I don't know. It was just a hard thing to deal with as a child, and very bizarre. And, you know, my father even, you know, told me, well, maybe she ate her puppies' heads. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? She was such a good mother. She wouldn't have ate her puppies' heads off and just left their bodies there. That is just not something that a dog would do. And I just, you know, was just like, I mean, of course, you know, I was young, and I was just like, okay, well, maybe, you know, my father's right, or I don't know. So, you know, that was the beginning of my personal relationship with a higher power and encountering evil for the first time. It was very unsettling as a child. It was crazy, very bizarre.